Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Awesome. Well, my name is Caio Pimenta, and welcome to the session. This is about how we turn feedback into action by leveraging AI. So I'm with Sol Gennaro. We have tons of customer reviews. How do we actually read every single review and get an insight quickly? So this is where we're really going to go and dive into. But before, imagine yourself, you are tasked to summarize hundreds of thousands of reviews by week or by month, or maybe you and your business, you are tasked to go over hundreds or maybe a couple phone call transcripts, and you have to summarize it and give a really nice report. That's very time consuming, right? Or maybe you have to go through thousands of comments on a live event and you have to get a quick pulse on what customers are feeling and what they're thinking. So that is the session. We're gonna go over how we do that at Sol Gennaro, and let's get started. So first things first, my name is Caio Pimenta. I'm a senior manager at Global Analytics here at Sol Gennaro, and I am from Brazil originally, and that means I speak Portuguese natively. And I've been in the data space for about 8 years now. I started my career a while ago, and those are the tools that I'm very familiar with. Anything from ERP tools to business intelligence and data storage. And I completed my MBA around 5 years ago in data analytics. So it's been an amazing journey in working with data and now also AI. I lead data at Sol Gennaro for about 3 years now. Sol Gennaro is a very young company. We are almost 10 years old. And when I joined 3 years ago, we were about 80 employees. Now we're almost at 400. So it's been an incredible ride. And when I joined, we really didn't have a business intelligence tool, a data warehouse. Everything was Excel, manual. People were just putting out fires, getting stuff together, launching this product. Oh, we're making money, great, awesome. No, we have to really slow it down, right? So the last 3 years, it's been an amazing journey to really bring in Domo. We have Databricks as well. So it's been amazing. But in my free time, I also like to do a lot of fun things besides data and analytics. I love cooking. It's my creative outlet. I love playing sports, tennis, Formula One. And I also love traveling. So here are some amazing, fun pictures that I would love to share about what I do. I love cooking risottos. Who doesn't love that, right? I love espresso. So every morning I get to do a nice latte art, cappuccino, or anything like that. It's the little things in life, right? I love surfing. And here's a picture of my wife and I in North Carolina hiking. Okay, so let's go with Sol Gennaro. For those of you that don't know us, we are in the beauty company, beauty industry. So that means we sell body creams, fragrance mists, body oil, hair products, and we're quite new in the space, right? So we sell across our e-commerce channel, we sell across Amazon, we sell across the globe. We are in all major retailers, anything from Sephora, EU, US, Canada, Ulta, Kohl's, and all of the other amazing retailers and partners across the globe, like Mecca in Australia, and etc. So that means that our customers, Omni, they are going into all these channels, buying here and there, dropping their reviews, dropping their comments. How do you actually compile all of that, right? It's very time consuming. And with all that growth, we are about to hit about $1 billion in sales. So it's amazing opportunity. But like I said, with all that growth comes a lot of the challenge. And one of the initial challenges that we faced was managing overwhelming feedback. Like I said, customers are going everywhere. They're buying across different places. We're launching new products, almost at least one product a month, something like that. So how do we get a pulse quickly? Do we actually read through hundreds and thousands of reviews every week, or do we leverage AI? So big pain points here is the overwhelming feedback. We have multiple platforms, a high influx of data coming in. People are posting pictures of the product. People are posting videos. They're commenting. They're saying, hey, this scent here is sick with a fire emoji. How do we actually, read that automatically and correctly, right? So our audience is what? Gen Z, Gen Alpha, millennials. So they're just not just saying, hey, this is a really good smelling scent, right? They are really expressing themselves. So that it's also a challenge. Before we were taking the time and reading the reviews and maybe capturing the most relevant ones. And that was all manual process. And it was all silent. Our DTC team, our e-commerce team was looking at their own reviews. Our commercial team was looking at their own retailers' reviews. And we really didn't have like a spot where everyone can check all the sources and get a quick insight. And lastly, the other biggest pain point was growth in the volume of feedback. This is never going to stop growing, right? We're going to continue to sell products. We're going to continue to expand. People are going to continue to buy the products and they continue to review it. So it's a forever-ending problem. So how do we actually create a solution? We create a solution by automating analysis with Domo and large language models. So the first piece of this is leveraging all of our data tools, by implementing all of it into just one platform, right? That way we can be able to integrate with all of the retailers and then bring it into one data set, two data sets, and then run analysis on top of it. The main point is summarization of reviews. And then the third point is because we're leveraging LLMs to do the reviews, to do the summary reviews, we're looking at what our customers are liking it, what our customers are not liking about a product. But because we're also just tapping into the LLMs, let's go all the way. Let's just not get the summaries. Let's go beyond just negative and positive and neutral sentiments. Let's also leverage LLM for better sentiment analysis, like emotion. Are they feeling joy? Are they excited? Are they frustrated, disappointed? And also, let's get the topics of the reviews. That way we can have a really nice bucket and really understand our data. So we created the AI product review hub, and that was a Domo app that we currently have available for our product team, for our supply chain quality management, for our creative teams, because if they can get a feeling of the customers, they can create better copy for their campaigns, for our ads, for our launches, right? Quality team can understand if there's any package problems, and then the product team can understand if we should tweak the formula or if we should change the design, and etc. All right. This is our hero product, Boom Boom Cream. We first launched this a long time ago, so I had to give a shout out to our product. But the main thing here, the main two outputs of this overall Domo app is the summarization of strengths and opportunities. So the AI gets a snapshot, you log in, you see the snapshot by product or by category, then you have a starting point. Okay, maybe there's something wrong here. Let's go into the review level, right? So that's the second piece where we still are leveraging LLMs in the app. So you go from understanding the strengths and opportunities, and then you go from, let's look at the actual reviews, let's find out more insights about it. So like Josh was saying, right? We're not just putting data in the screen. We are making it super digestible and actionable, right? So that's what we're doing here. All right, but how this actually works? The most important question, right? So we first start by gathering all of the data sources. Like I mentioned, we are working with all kinds of retailers and different channels. So we need to understand how we get that data, right? So we built a pipeline that taps into APIs, taps into a little bit of web scraping, web crawling, and some of the retailers have a public API. You can just tap into it, and then you have to do some crawling and some scraping to get the product ID so that you can loop through the API call and then get all of the reviews. So it's a really unique process, and we leverage that all inside Domo with the Jupyter notebook. And then after we ingest the data, we bring in some contextual data, so master data, so that would be like all of our product categories, the size, the scent, and all those things that we can put some more color into into the data. And then we aggregate some of the reviews, do some cleanup. But the main important piece is the AI processing piece. This is where once we have all the data, we bring in Jupyter Notebook again inside Domo, and then we tap into the AI providers, build the prompt, build the script, tap into their API, get the result. And then once we get the result, we build the application. So this is a very, very high-level view of how the feedback is processed. So I dedicated the next slide for just the AI processing piece. That way you can get a little bit more specific, so that maybe some of you guys that are more technical can get some more insight of how we actually do this. So let's go into the back end. Let's go over this piece of code here. No, I'm kidding, guys. It's too much. Too much. Let's break this down into 5 simple steps. That way we can know exactly what we need to do instead of trying to understand this, right? So this is the back end. This is how it looks. But first thing in the code here is we ingest the data through Jupyter Notebook in Domo. We query it. We change it into a JSON file. That way we can send it through the prompt on the AI model. But because we have hundreds of thousands of reviews, so lots of rows of data, we can't just send one prompt and send the whole JSON file, right? And say, hey, read it for me. It's not going to work. Most of these AI models have some type of limit, maybe like a token limit, tokens per minute, or requests per minute. So we break everything into batches, and we utilize the batch API from, in this case, OpenAI. That way we can run everything into batches, loop it through it, and get the output. The second piece of this is the AI prompt. So because we're tapping to their API, we are creating a prompt with the data, and we're sending it in. This is the most important piece out of the 5 steps. How do you actually put your prompt together? The first way you structure your prompt is going to dictate the actual output of it. So in our case, we decided to break it into simple 4 steps. First, the goal. Be super clear what you're trying to achieve. Hey, I need to summarize, all of these phone calls, and I need you to get me this, and that. So be super specific. I need 50 to 100 characters on the output. I need 3 bullet points. Whatever you need, just be super clear. And then the other piece is to bring context. And you can break the prompt really simple. You can say, hey, this is the goal, then the text, and then this is the context, and then break it really simple. The context would be anything that you think the AI should know about the data. And then the return format is most important. All of it will come in text, so you need to be able to parse the data. So in this case, we chose CSV, so it brings in a CSV. But you're paying for tokens when you're working with these AI models, right? So the return format, if you ever worked with ChatGPT, if you say something, you paste a huge text and you say, hey, summarize this, sometimes it will bring that text back in the output, and you're paying for that. So the return format needs to be as simple as possible. That way you just get what you want, not what you also sent as well. Like you could send the JSON file, and then the AI could return the JSON file as well. And you're just paying for extra tokens. That's a little bit too specific, I think. But JSON file is the last piece. This is where you say, hey, this is the actual data that you need to analyze. The third step is actually running the prompt. We tested a couple models. We tested OpenAI, a couple models, GPT-4o, GPT-4 Mini, and then Anthropic and Gemini. And then we chose the output to come in as CSV, like I mentioned. But it's super important here. We didn't just run on GPT-4, the bottom line GPT-4. We actually went inside OpenAI Playground, and we fine-tuned the model to really spit out the answer that we're looking for. We gave the examples, and we built the model through their Playground, and then we referenced that model in here. Fourth step is really cleaning and duplication. This is super important because everything's a loop here. Then you're getting the output, you go into batches, and then you have to parse the data to become a data set. Then you have to append it, but sometimes the model doesn't work, or the model forgets a column, forgets a comma, and that really happens. You need to build some error management into it, like, hey, ignore this line, and then we can bucket that line somewhere else and do anything with it. But you continue to loop it through it and automate it, right? And then the fifth step is once you have the data and the insights, you're good to go. Let's build the application, right? All right, so this is the final product. I'm gonna walk you through it, exactly what it looks like. We trained all of our teams to know how to read it, how to use it. But we have our product hub, and you can see 3 main tabs: reviews, consumer journey, and basket analysis. In this case, we're only gonna look at reviews. But in here, you can go up top, and you can then select the summary control, so you can look at the summary for the AI by product or by category. The video is showing right there. And then the box next to the image actually says what are customers saying in the last 365 days. And then the last two columns in that snapshot are the actual summaries of the AI. And then here I'm showing in the video there where you can also have all the filters. The summary is by source, by product, so you can lump sum it by category or overall. In this case, I'm selecting some products, one of our other hero products, and then you can quickly see the summary and read it through it. Once you read it, you have the starting point. You have what you're looking for, what you're trying to answer, right? So then you scroll down to that second piece where we're leveraging AI for the topic. Most of it's scent. It's a perfume mist, right? So most of the time, they're going to be talking about the scent, and then the top keywords of the review, and then the emotion. I used to see enjoy right there. And then once you drill down to maybe the specific things you're looking for, then you can actually read the reviews and go super down to the most granular level. In this case, now I'm going to show selecting a negative review, and you can see how some of the emotions change, right? Disappointment, disapproval, broken, packaging issues. This is where our supply chain quality management team can drill down and see if there's is this an issue that we're seeing across the board? Is this a one-off? Things like that, right? And then on the last piece there, I put a feedback form. This is running by AI. So if we have a human loop in there, right? We need to make sure that if something is not going right, or maybe the emotion is not correct for the review, our team can just quickly add it up and send it to us. We can review it. All right, so this is most important piece, right? Why or how is this tool actually benefiting the business? So let's talk about some results and a real impact on the business. The first one is instant summaries on new launches. Like I mentioned to you, we're growing a lot, and we're doing all kinds of innovation. We're launching products, we're launching in different categories. We need to understand how our customers are feeling about a product, right? And we need to report out to our retailers and say, hey, yeah, everyone is loving it, or no, maybe not. And then we also have to report our innovation launches across the business, internally. So we can quickly get, within days, we can get an instant summary of what our customers are feeling. So that's one. The second one is the overall understanding of the customers, not only for innovations, but the overall product. So this is kind of tying back to our creative team can actually understand how our customers are feeling when they're using our product, and we can use that feeling into our ad copy, into our new campaigns, and really communicate and connect with them in a different way. And obviously, our consumer market insights team can also leverage this as well. And lastly, certainly not least, is how much money we save for the company. Before we actually kicked off this project, we got a couple businesses that focused on that, softwares, and they quoted us about 80 to 100K a year to run this for us. And it did not include all the sources that we currently have in the platform. It will just continue to increase on year over year and adding more sources, adding more retailers, Sephora France, Sephora Asia. That's more money per year. So we were able to do it internally. So it's awesome. All right, so let's dive into some examples of of these impacts. The first one is we launched this product in January, and we were able to quickly, I'm just zooming in here into the summary and strengths, so you can see we're able to quickly just get that feeling and be able to report out to our internal partners, our external partners, and that they can maybe put more POs or do some kind of activation in a different area. So that's an example as well. The other example is understanding your customers. There's two of them. No, I think there's just one. This one is one of our scents. We're getting a lot of negative reviews, or not a lot, but we have a card in the bottom of this Domo app where we can see which product has the highest ratio of negative reviews. So we can quickly see which one is, maybe they have 100 reviews, but 50% of them are negative. That's alarming, right? That's not the case, but here, this product had a lot of negativity around it, maybe frustration, disappointment, and we were able to pinpoint that most of the customers were talking about the scent smelling a little bit like burnt popcorn smell, right? So we were like, okay, let's dig into this. So we trained our teams to leverage the controls feature, leverage all the columns in the data set. And this column here is the review contents, it's the actual review. And then we're able to just kind of type in whatever we're looking for. And then we can actually get down to the review and get some insights and maybe see, is there an opportunity for us to run a study with our consumer marketing insights team and understand if maybe we should tweak the formula? So that's some of the actions that our team takes. All right, the other one was our limited edition product that we launched in September of last year. This one was really interesting. On the summary of areas of improvement, a lot of customers complained, or a few customers complained about the cream's consistency and maybe smelling of the product. So we were starting to dig into it to see if this is like a batch problem, if this is a quality issue. So we connected with our supply chain quality management team and we just dug into why this, to see if this was actually a problem. Thankfully, as you can see, there's not a lot of reviews that mentioned consistency but the ones that did mention talked about in the middle of the screen, you can see smell, yogurt, disgusting. So, people are allowed to say whatever they want to say, and our job is to investigate if this is a larger issue. If someone puts a viral video and they say, hey, yeah, the texture is not good, and then we start seeing more reviews, we need to be able to take action on that very quickly. So that's another example. And then the last example I already mentioned to you guys, which is the savings within the company. So lessons learned on this project were that prompt engineering is everything, and AI model fine-tuning is also very important. If you don't have the right prompt, you won't get the best output. We tweaked our prompt several times to get the right summary, right? That actually is the way our team actually writes the summary, right? It's not just the AI writing the summary and then we're happy with it. No, we want the summary to be the way we actually write it. And that understands our product. And that's why we have the model fine-tuning piece where we're able to go into the playground of the OpenAI and send in examples and train the model so that the model knows exactly what it's looking for. So that's super important. Second piece is that sometimes there's a misconception that maybe we should go towards open source models for sentiment analysis, but LLMs can be sometimes more cost effective. OpenAI, the open source models, they take a lot of compute power, especially if you're running hundreds of thousands of reviews, millions of reviews. So you need compute power. In Domo, you can up your tier of Jupyter notebooks, and then you start consuming more credits. So there's a fine balance of maybe you host it locally through a computer, you spend some money, or you just leverage the tokens through AI models. So it was way cheaper for us. We spent less than $200 to run this whole thing, and we still haven't given more credits to OpenAI. So, lastly, certainly not least, data quality and standardization. I think this one is a given. Everyone should know this. Data quality, if you have trash trash out, right? Trash in, trash out. So standardize the data. We learned a lot in this specific project here because a few retailers, they borrow reviews from different channels, especially if they work together. So we don't want to have duplicated data, right? So that goes part of data quality and standardization. What else? The last three things here about the presentation are the main three takeaways of this whole project. Is the first thing is don't underestimate AI plus Jupyter plus Domo, because with that you can transform a lot of things. You can automate a lot of the things we saw this morning. We're leveraging Jupyter and Domo and workflow and AI. So this can really transform a lot of other businesses. And the second thing here is AI can help in extract hidden trends on product innovation. No one really has the time to read hundreds of thousands of reviews or summarize 20, 30, 50 phone calls per quarter or whatever, or read through 1,000 comments or hundreds of thousands of comments on a UFC fight that is live, right? So AI can read that for us, and it can identify hidden trends that we can take action on. And then lastly is actionable insights and hence business decisions. I think this is really, why are we here? Because we want to have actionable insights, not just data on a dashboard where we don't take any action and we don't know where to start. So I'd like to thank everyone. This has been amazing, and I think we have 12 minutes, so I'm open for questions. Here is QR code to go to my LinkedIn. Love to connect. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And then the other one is for you to download the PDF of the presentation, and that will have the code, a couple more slides there for more detail. So thank you so much. So the mic, if you have a question, just raise your hand. We have someone with the mic here. Kennedy.
Okay.
Hi, thanks.
Hi.
The question I would have is creating the prompt generation. What was your biggest challenge when it came to that prompt engineering?
The biggest challenge was setting up the format, the return format of the data. We tried first with JSON file, like, hey, return me the JSON file without the review content, just the review ID. But the AI was missing brackets and commas, and that was really difficult to troubleshoot it. I could do it manually, but the whole point of this is to run every week automatically. So that was the biggest issue. Yeah. Believe it or not, Gemini was not giving us the best summary. OpenAI was definitely the best summary out there for us. Yeah. Got someone up here.
I'm coming.
So two-part question.
Yeah.
One, did you have issues with hitting character limits in your Domo instance? And if so, if you increase those character limits, did you experience any performance issues due to that?
Character limits as far as like the summary review for the prompt?
Right, because we end up getting pretty verbose reviews, like
Right.
2-page reviews. So
2-page reviews, yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, you have a certain limit by each model has a certain tokens per minute, right? Our GPT-4o that we're using is 200,000 tokens. That's about 200,000 words that you can run per minute, I think. But we didn't have any issues, thankfully. Our reviews are not like a paragraph or 2 pages, but you could certainly build like a more custom thing for it. Yeah.
So you said you sell across multiple retailers, including Amazon. Did you integrate AI outputs into your output? Like, for example, like Amazon has summaries now.
Yeah.
So did you take that, or did you take the actual reviews and then built the model out off of that?
Yeah, that's a great question. We did not take the summaries straight from Amazon. This is a fairly new project. We actually don't have Amazon on the platform yet. We are set to start that project or that phase of the project this upcoming fiscal year. And Amazon is a little more complicated. They don't have a public API. They don't allow crawling or scraping through their site. So you have to build an actual custom robot to do the actual crawling. So, but yeah. We got someone in the back and another person in the front.
Yeah, earlier you mentioned that like your target audience is younger, so they're probably using like the ever evolving slang and emojis. Did you have to tweak your model and do training specifically on stuff like that?
Actually, we didn't have to do that. We didn't need to do that, thankfully. But you're totally right. Like a lot of our customers like to, say, "Hey, this is Riz" or whatever, and it's exciting. We did try to use just for the sentiments. We did try to use at first a open source model like Hugging Face, a Burp model or something like that. But they were not catching those phrases, expressions, and emojis, especially emojis. They were not catching that. But the LLMs did. Yeah. We got someone in the front as well, and then another person over there. Yeah, right here.
So you were mentioning Amazon and some of the difficulty scraping from that site. How would you envision like scraping things that are behind, logins or things that sometimes require, MFA to actually get to the content of the data? Would you have a human being logging in and then, hit a scrape button, or, in that scenario, how do you get data that's behind things that are trying to not let you get data?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if it needs a login and you need to scrape it, you could certainly build a model that can go through that screen first, a script that can log in, look for a specific ID within the page, and be able to log in and go through it. I wouldn't have a human there just clicking it, but it's definitely possible for sure. Yeah. I think we had someone else there.
So the pipeline that you showed is very much after customers have already received a product that has already been developed. I'm curious if your company does any sort of pre-release testing with a consumer base, and if so, how you incorporate that feedback, or if you do, into the same feedback pipeline.
Yeah, that's a great, fantastic question. We currently don't integrate that within this application, but it is in the pipeline to leverage all of that. Our consumer market insights team does lots of testings for scents, for product packaging, and overall usability. And they use a bunch of surveys and also a system, a community, right? But we're not tapping into that just yet. Yeah, but that's a great idea. It'd be nice to just put it all together. Perfect.
How often do you update this dashboard? Meaning, how often do you keep a track of the reviews from all your platforms and update this maybe like on a daily basis or a weekly basis?
We pull it every Monday morning. Yeah, just once a week. We run everything again, just on new reviews, and then the summary. We have a rolling window of days that we run the model again. Yeah, we thought a daily would be an overkill. Yeah. Anyone else, or?
We have time for 2 more questions.
Yeah, one in the front, and someone else there. You had a question? Okay.
Yep. So I know like nowadays, most product is more like influencer based. So, with TikTok, social media and other stuff, like do you think about the scalability of your dashboard to connect to all those like influencers and all the
Great question. Yeah. We have lots of phases to the project, and one of the phases is to incorporate social media. So take all that social listening, all the comments from our own social media. So that would be all of our channels. We can't pull any other comments from other people's accounts, but we can pull it from our account, and then we have that in the pipeline. And I think that would be amazing. Yeah.
Last question.
Last question. All right.
Tudo bem?
Tudo bem, e você?
So, kind of offer a question. I saw the filter for whether it was a paid influencer or not. Is that something the LLM's picking up on, or is that something that you have somehow mapped?
Yes, we have a section that the LLM is picking up on the incentivized reviews, right? We have to constantly seed reviews. So the LLM has a touch point that says, hey, this is a incentivized review. Yeah. And then the next thing about this app is to also incorporate like a relevancy score. So understanding if like this product is getting 100 reviews per week, and this other product is only getting 3 reviews per week, right? We need to make sure that we have new reviews in all products, because our customer in the beauty industry, they're looking for the newest thing, right? The newest mist, the newest makeup, whatever. So if they go into the review to look at the actual product and the last review was 3 months ago, that's not cool anymore. So, yeah. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate the time. Thanks so much.